I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. If you please stand for the prayer and pledge.
Lord, I thank you for this day, and I thank you, Lord, for the new blessings that you set upon us. And God, as we come tonight, God, Lord, just to this meeting time, I pray, Lord, as we take care of the business of our school system, God, we thank you, Lord, for all of our system, from our administrators all the way down to our teachers and our paraprofessionals and all the ones who work in the school system. I pray, Lord, for our kids, Lord, and Lord, I pray for our county. Thank you, Lord, for blessing our county as much as you have throughout the years, God. Lord, just right now, just be with us, Lord, as we make these decisions, God. Guide us and give us right words to say. I pray these things. Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will now turn it over to Dr. Morgan for superintendent updates.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We have had a wonderful start to the school year. And if you'll look at the beginning of the school year, you can go ahead and advance the slide, Mr. Allen. I think there's another slide of some pictures of our darlings enjoying the first few days of school. And next, we'll talk about enrollment. So this year, we've started off with 3,419 students in the Brantley County School System, and compared to last year, that's going to be up about 33 students, you can see. All right, and then if you want to look at a comparison of the numbers, just to get an idea of how many kids are at each of our 7 schools, we've got the breakdown there. And now on to some really good news. We want to talk a little bit about our Georgia milestone data. That public release from the DOE has gone out, and we shared some data with you last week at the work session. So we want to go ahead and go over that in our public meeting, and we've actually done a little bit more of a data analysis and picked out some highlights that were very exciting that we want to share with you. All right. So, looking at scores from across Georgia, there's actually some places where we have scored, or a lot of places actually, where we have scored really high among other schools in the state. And this first comparison is among all schools in Georgia. Later, we will compare just to Title I schools whose student makeup is more similar to ours, but this would include all schools in Georgia, even those, that are not Title I. So you can see how our 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade across the system scored in the top 25% of those schools in the state, some of them even in the top 10%, and that is on the ELA test. All right. You can also see, here's a comparison with the state score. The state score is in gold with our system scores in navy. All right, and that's for 3rd through 6th. And then we have the next slide. It shows our middle school and high school ELA scores. All right, and next we're going to go on to talk about math a little bit. And then in math as well, you can see that we really had just some big highlights with all of our 3rd through 8th grade scores scoring higher than the state, but some of them, just really have topped out and been among the cream of the crop in the state. So again, quite a few grade levels, because this is system score. So like that 3rd grade score, for example, is the top 8% across the state in 3rd grades. Want to point out 5th grade math across the system at the 3 schools. They ranked in the top 4% of all schools in Georgia. So definitely want to give a shout out there. All right, next slide. You'll see our, again, 3rd through 6th grade math scores compared to the state scores. And next, we've got our middle school and high school math scores. All right, next slide. And we also have our science scores that were in the top 10%. Science is not tested in every grade. It actually is tested in 5th and 8th grade and then high school. So you can see where we scored in the top 10% in 5th and 8th grade. Next slide. Okay, thank you. So we're really excited to see how these scores are going to stack up among the Title I schools, because that's where we get the awards that we've gotten in the past. With the last year, we actually had all 5 of our primary elementary schools named Title I Distinguished Schools for being in the top 5% on the milestones in academic achievement out of Title I schools. So anyway, when we get those numbers, we look forward to bringing those to you as well. All right, that concludes my update.
Thank you for that very encouraging update. Is there any public participation? Hearing none, we will move on. Approval of the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda that anyone noted? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Thank you. A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. Motion carried. Next is the deposition of the minutes. Did anyone note any corrections? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
May I have a second?
I'll second the motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. Motion carries. Next will be the monthly financial reports. Do I have a motion to approve the financial reports, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial reports.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I want to point out the SPOS. I believe we have a record.
Yes, we do. Yes, we had a phenomenal record for our SPOS, which means people bought local and done online orders. It was $169,461.18, and that's just what the people done. So we are so proud and so excited for Brantley County keeping it local. And then collected tax-wise for car tags was $96,478.38 for a beautiful grand total of $265,939.56. So keep up the great work, Brantley County. Thank you. Yes. Anything else?
Enthusiastic. I
Thank
appreciate
you. I'm
it.
so excited about Brantley County supporting local. Hearing nothing else, Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. Carries. Okay, Dr. Morgan, have the action items.
Yes, thank you. I recommend to approve the purchase of Renaissance My IGDIs for pre-K program in the amount of $11,740.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation for Renaissance for the pre-K program.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. This is programs they're going to use for screeners, and it will be funded by the pre-K L4GA grant.
Thank you. Anything from the board members? Hearing none, Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. It carries.
I recommend to approve the FY24 school-based flu vaccine clinic, the memorandum of understanding as presented.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation for FY24 school-based influenza memorandum.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. This is an annual vote that we bring to you guys. We partner with our local Department of Health, and they come to the school and administer flu vaccinations to the students whose parents have given permission to receive the flu vaccine.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions from the board members? Hearing none, Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. Carries.
I recommend to approve the quote from Mobile Fixtures for smallware items in the amount of $13,312.08.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to purchase the smallware items for the school nutrition program.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yes, ma'am. This is
fully funded from the school nutrition department, and examples of smallware would include like pans, skillets, utensils, sometimes some shelving and carts.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes, carries.
I recommend to approve the quote from Cengage Learning for 30 textbooks for healthcare science classes in the amount of $4,693.50.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation from Cengage Learning for 30 textbooks for healthcare science classes.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. These will be funded through the Brantley County High School Vocational Instructional Funds.
Okay. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes, carries.
I recommend to approve the quote from Baker Distributing Company for 5 HVAC units in the amount of $32,424.75.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to buy the 5 HVAC units.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, these will be for stock. The wait time to every time we need to get air conditioners seems to get longer and longer, so we'd like to make sure we have them on hand so that we do not have to wait when one goes out.
Yes. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes, carries.
I recommend to approve the quote from Bytespeed for 6 desktop computers for our SRO safety department in the amount of $4,170.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation from Bytespeed for 6 desktop computers for SRO.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes, carries.
I recommend to approve the quote from Ed Benton for Study Island for Nahunta Elementary School in the amount of $4,846.40.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to support the superintendent's decision to buy Study Island for NEA.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, this will be funded through Nahunta Elementary School's instructional funds. And this is a program that we've used for many years in Brantley County with success.
Correct. Okay. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I recommend to approve the purchase of 10 Chromebook carts from Amazon for $3,999.90 and 20 Chromebooks from Howard Technology Solutions for $5,250 for Nahunta Elementary School.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to purchase from Nahunta Elementary School 10 Chromebook carts and 20 Chromebooks.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Nahunta Elementary School plans to place these in classrooms, and these purchases will be funded through NES's L4GA grant money.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I recommend to approve the purchase of Sunday resource kits and Wilson kits for primary and elementary schools, special education department, not to exceed $20,000.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation for Sunday resource kits and Wilson kits for special education department.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. These kits are used for literacy instruction primarily during reading intervention time, and they will be funded by the Special Ed Building Capacity Grant.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I recommend to approve the quote from Quizzes for software to be used by teachers and students at Brantley County High School in the amount of $5,000.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve business software for BCHerons.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yes, ma'am, this is a program that the high school has used before, and it will be funded through BCHS instructional funds.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I recommend to approve the purchase of a math computer program for AES from Explorer Learning Reflex and Fracs in the amount of $4,795.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve Reflex Fracs Math Computer Program for AES.
Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, this will be funded through AES's instructional funds.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I recommend to approve the upgrading of the school police vehicles with emergency lighting, radio communication equipment, and audible sirens from Mobile Communications America as presented.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation for Mobile Communications America for the SRO vehicle upgrades.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, just want to thank the board again for the priority that you place and the commitment on safety for our students, staff, and our police officers. And this is about safer operations. So we appreciate the support.
Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I recommend to approve the quote from Network Service Consultants for the door, alarm, and access control project as presented.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation from Network Service Consultants for the door alarm and access control project.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yes, ma'am, the school security grants of $50,000 per school that the governor gave in this budget to the schools will help, or not will help, but will fund this, and then there'll still be remaining money for each school with future safety updates that we'll be doing. So again, safety remains the top priority, and I appreciate the diligence of this board and the administrators and the facilities people working on what it takes to make sure our schools are safe.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I recommend to approve the proposed millage rate of 15.3 for the Brantley County School System FY24 budget.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the proposed millage rate of 15.3.
Thank you. And do I have a second,
I'll
please?
second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, I just, again, want to thank the board for the funding and for the millage rate that you've taken and tried to lower through the years. I think in 2016, our millage rate was at 17, and through the years, we've lowered it, and we're down to 15.3 now, and we want to leave it at this rate.
Thank you.
I'd like to piggyback on that. I'm just a new board member, so to speak, but coming in and learning, I can see where the board members prior to me, in my tenure, and the ones that we have here now, has made a very conscious effort into that millage rate. You know, when we go around visiting schools or doing different things, you know, we look at the economic growth in those places and stuff, and there's people really close to us in the same similar situations that have 17 and 18 millage rates, and you can look at the history of this existing board and the board previous and know that that's a very, very, what's the word, something among top, you know, that's a very hot topic. How can we help the taxpayers for helping us? So we
Yes.
try everywhere we can, but I want to give kudos out to the board prior to us and the two members and the superintendent that's been here since then. They have made a very, very good effort in bringing that down every year as much as possible.
Thank you.
Well, 15.3 gives us, if we are keeping the millage rate the same, we still have to advertise a tax increase due to our tax digest has grown by $46 or $47 million, overall.
Thousand.
The-
Oh, I'm sorry, the value of the meal is 47,000,
Which
yes,
is 10% of the digest.
yes, sir.
So we are still, so it's 1%. Anyway, sometimes I get some math in my head working, but anyway, well, it looks like, we have the hearing, it looks like we've raised taxes, we've technically not raised taxes, growth in our county is raising the amount of taxes that we collect, but with growth, and you've seen it in the superintendent's update, we gained about 1%, growth in our FTE this year, so it's all kind of running
Yes, sir.
along parallel paths.
Yes, sir. So the value of the meal has increased, but the millage rate will not increase. So we're, going to be able to collect more revenue without individuals' tax bills going up. So that's always good news. And like Mr. Percy said, has been the forefront of this board for a very long time to, watch that burden on the taxpayers.
Anything else? Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. We need executive session for personnel, property, and safety. All right, may I have a motion for executive session for personnel, property, and safety?
I'll make a motion for all three of those.
Thank you, may I have a second? Second,
Second.
Ms. Kathy? Ms. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. We'll be back. Call this meeting back to order, please. Turn it over to Dr. Morgan.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I'd like to ask the board to accept the following resignations. April Brooks,
Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't come out of executive session. We are out of executive session at 8:06 with no action taken. I apologize. May I have a motion to come out, please?
I'll make a motion to come out of the
A
service.
second, please.
I'll second.
Ms. Kathy, okay. All right, Ms. Kathy? Yes. Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. Now you.
thank you, ma'am. I'd like to ask the board to accept the following resignations. April Brooks, bus driver, and Willie Johnson, school nutrition program worker.
Will you hear the superintendent's recommendations? May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignations.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Ms. Kathy? Yes. Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I'd like to ask the board to accept the retiree resignation of Wanda Bear, bus driver.
You hear the recommendation? May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the retiree resignation.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy? Yes. Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I'd like to make the following recommendations for hire. Rebecca Castro, Brantley County High School physical education teacher, and Jessica Johns, bus monitor.
We hear the superintendent's recommendations. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendations for hire.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy? Yes. Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I'd like to ask the board to accept the following addendums. Kaylin Rollerson, Brantley County Middle School assistant softball coach. Skylar Kersey, Brantley County High School JV baseball coach. And Jacob Bond, Brantley County High School assistant varsity football coach.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to accept all of the.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
Yes, ma'am, I have two more action items. I recommend to approve the resolution to phase out building 5020 at Brantley County High School as presented.
You hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation for the phase out of Bill 5020.
Thank you.
BCHs.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Yes, ma'am, this is so that we can make application to build a new Brantley County High School gym in the future. And this is part of the process with the state. You have to phase this one out first and take it off the inventory.
Thank you. So it will not affect the.
Yeah, the gym's not going anywhere.
Thank
but
you.
it
We
just,
can use it.
yes, we can still use it.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes.
I recommend to approve the property surplus resolution as presented.
Hear the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the property surplus resolution.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, this is a land and a building in Hortense that is surplus. We're asking you to pass the surplus.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. Anything else?
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
All right, hearing nothing else, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. The second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Mike?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cliff?
Yes.
Teresa votes yes. Thank you.